you are too. I didn't have time. I had a really busy day. I didn't have time to go through and do my usual top fives and my sleeper and bust picks. So I'm kind of just going to run through, look at the games, and give you my opinion, my quick opinion. I didn't have time. It's going to be kind of a quick show. I have some things to do, and not because Bonzi thinks the show should be quicker, just because I have things to do, honestly. But week 4. There's a lot of buys this week. There's a lot of buys in week 4, and as I'm looking through the games, I'm not overly excited about anything, to be honest with you. There's going to be, a few nice games here and there, but a lot of the really good players have bad matchups, and it's just not that exciting of a week. So hopefully it goes well for you. The first game on my list is Green Bay at Tampa Bay, and both teams have really good defenses. The thing that gets me with this game is Brian Griese last week for Tampa Bay throws for over 400 yards against Chicago. So he gets picked up in about 100% of all leagues, and started in a few more. So he will be starting this week in a lot of your leagues, but I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I don't think he's going to go for over 400 again. Green Bay has a pretty good defense, even though Al Harris, I think, is hurt. So he may have a nice week, but I wouldn't expect over 400 yards again this week from him. But on the Green Bay side of the ball, I really like the way that offense looks. I like Aaron Rodgers, and I like Greg Jennings a lot. Ryan Grant, I'm not so sure about. He's got that hamstring injury, and as an accomplished rec league athlete myself, I know that hamstring injuries are tough to get through. So as soon as Ryan Grant does heal up, he'll be a great start every week. But until then, I'm hoping that I have somebody else if I'm a Ryan Grant owner. Sorry, Mike. Next game on my list is Houston at Jacksonville. And to be honest with you, Houston has kind of underperformed this year. I thought Matt Schaub was going to be a lot better than he is. He's not. And on the other side, I thought David Garrard was also going to be much better than he is statistically, but he's not. So in this game, the Jacksonville running backs, say what you will about that offensive line. They looked good against Indy last week. Jones-Drew had a huge game, and I think he's going to figure a little more into the offense because it only makes sense. He's a bowling ball. I love him. I have him on a team, and I love him. I like Jones-Drew a lot in that game. I'm maybe Andre Johnson on the Houston side of the ball. I know Steve Slayton went for over 100 last week, but that Jacksonville defense is still pretty tough. I don't know if he'll be able to have that kind of luck again week 4. Next on my list, Atlanta at Carolina. And, Matt Ryan has looked okay for a rookie quarterback. I don't think he's worth plugging in at Carolina. I do like Jake Delhomme. I do think Steve Smith is going to score this game for them. Beware of Roddy White. He looks like he's an attractive little package. You want to go ahead and just get him and start him, especially after last week if he was on your bench and he hurt you on your bench. But, Roddy White's not a week-to-week player necessarily. He's kind of a matchup guy. And I don't know that at Carolina is the matchup you're looking for Roddy White. But that being said, he'll probably go for 150 yards and 2 scores. I do want to remind everyone right now that if you need anything at all, if you want to ask me anything, just talk about anything, comment, whatever you want to do, go ahead. Just swing by my page, leave me a message, and maybe I'll talk about it on the show if it's good enough. Just a reminder. Next, Arizona at the New York Jets. Arizona underperformed a little bit last week. I thought they were going to play a little better than they did at Washington, but Washington's D looked okay. This week they're at the Jets, where San Diego just hung one on the New York Jets. I wonder if Arizona can do the same thing. I think that Kurt Warner is a good start. I think both wide receivers from Arizona are obviously good starts. The Arizona running back situation is a little sticky, and so I'm not sure you want to plug in either Tim Hightower or Edgerrin James, even though I have to start Edgerrin James this week. He's been getting double digits in point per reception leagues. He's getting double digits every week. I had to make a trade to get Edgerrin James. I have him plugged in, and that's what I have to do. I'm not too happy about it. On the other side of the ball, the New York Jets, it doesn't seem like you know what you're going to get. Jericho Cotchery seems to be a safe pick. Lavernius Coles is kind of hit or miss. Thomas Jones, the same way. He kind of had high expectations going into this season, and I'm not sure that he's lived up to them as of yet. But at home against Arizona, I think the Jets bounce back somewhat offensively and put up some better numbers. So don't be too scared to start your New York Jets this week. San Francisco at New Orleans. This could be a high-scoring affair. New Orleans is in a shootout every week. San Francisco's been putting points on the board. Frank Gore's again an every week start, so that's good. I wouldn't get too happy about O'Sullivan. I know he's looking like a pretty good quarterback, but is he a guy you just want to put in and start every week? I don't know. I guess if you have to start him against New Orleans, is probably the thing to do. And on the New Orleans side of the ball, Reggie Bush is just money. Just money. He's an every week guy. You have to plug him in regardless of matchup. He's such a big part of that offense, and he catches so many balls. Reggie Bush is a huge start. Also, Drew Brees, obviously Drew Brees, and whoever their number one quarterback is at the time in New Orleans will be a good start too. San Francisco, that should be a shootout. There might be 70 points scored in that game. I don't see a lot of defense happening, so honestly, just about anyone you can get your hands on might be a good start in this game. To be honest with you, I don't know. You wouldn't think a bunch of San Francisco 49ers would be the guys to start, but there might be a few of them that are worth starting this week. So maybe Brandon Lloyd again. Heads up. Pardon me. Next game, I have Cleveland at Cincinnati. Now, if you remember last year, these guys had one of the highest scoring outputs ever in just a shootout fiasco of a game. And both teams this season have sucked, to say the least. I mean, they've just been bad. They've just been not good. So you got to think this is either the week that everybody snaps out of it, at least for one game, and everyone's worth starting. I sure hope so. I have Braylon Edwards in 2 leagues. And I'm thinking this is the week he finally catches a touchdown pass and maybe even catches more balls than he drops. I know, it would be great. So hopefully that's what happens this week. They're saying Derek Anderson will be the starter, but man, I know they're talking about putting in Brady Quinn a little bit more, so be careful. If you have Derek Anderson, hopefully you handcuffed him Brady Quinn, because you may be out of quarterback real soon. Jamal Lewis, yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sold on Jamal at all this year. Regardless of opponent. And I know it's at Cincinnati, but remember Cincinnati last week took the Giants to overtime. And the Giants are supposed to be the best team in the league. I still think they're right up there. But Cincinnati took the Giants to overtime. And I watched that game. It wasn't because the Giants were necessarily playing bad. The Bengals were playing all right. The Bengals were playing some pretty good football that game. So I'm just saying this could be a beatdown, Cincinnati over Cleveland, instead of the shootout rematch that we're all hoping for. For my sake, I hope it's not. But I'm just saying, it very well could be. If Cincinnati plays the same kind of football this week as they did last week, Cleveland's in a lot of trouble, and Cincinnati may finally get a win. Are they 0-3? I don't even know. They should be. They're awful. They've just been brutal besides last week. So on the other side of the ball, though, I mean, maybe you've had Carson Palmer. Obviously, if Carson Palmer's your starter, you've been rolling with him for the first few weeks, and he's been letting you down. This week, he may make it up to you. Same goes with Chad Johnson. Hushmanzada, I think, is a must-start anyway, always. He had a big week last week, a really big week, actually. So you shouldn't worry too much about him, but Chad Johnson might have a decent week, too.